It's crazy how your relationship can be fine one minute, then the next, go down the drain with little to no resistance. I trusted my wife, even when she started partying with her coworkers and going on short trips. Damn, I was naive. To save my relationship, I even agreed to opening it up, which honestly made things a million times worse, as what happened after that pretty much destroyed me. Welcome to my pain. This is my cheating story. I'm 31. My wife, Jenny, is 34, and we've been together for 9 years, married for 4. We have 2 children, aged 7 and 11, and I adopted our oldest around 4 years ago. But I'd been a part of his life ever since he was a baby, so he's essentially my boy. Last January, my wife started a part-time serving job at night. She started going out with her coworkers to local bars or drinking at their houses 1 to 3 times a week after work. Sometimes they'd be out for an hour or 2 after closing time, and sometimes she'd be gone until 3 a.m. She also had another part-time job during the day in which she'd work 4 to 5 hours. I worked 50 hours a week remotely, and since my job was much more flexible, I took the kids to and from school, helped with their homework and class projects, and carried most of the slack on their sports or doctor's appointments. I also worked on my side business at night when everyone had gone to bed. It was something I built from the ground up, so I'm proud of it, and it's definitely my passion and dream. During late spring, early summer, Jenny started working more during the night at her serving job, and she was doing less hours at her part-time day job, which meant she was also frequenting the bars and going out with her coworkers more. I voiced my concern quite a bit. I was always met with,
"The kids are already asleep. I'm just going out with my coworkers."
I would bring up activities we could do like playing games, painting, and just hanging out, things you would want to do with your wife, but for her, it was more convenient to hang out with the people she was already with. Fast forward a few months towards the end of the summer, and she was enjoying more late nights, made new friends that I'd never met, and had various schedule changes. One day, Jenny came home and said,
"Hey, I'm developing a schoolgirl crush on Fred, my coworker. I feel silly about it, but there's nothing to worry about. I just wanted to let you know and make you aware."
Now feeling secure in my marriage with the love of my life for 8 years and the mother of my children, I say something along the lines of, "Thank you for coming to me. The honesty is appreciated. You work with the guy, we're married, and we've been together for 8 years. I trust you and our relationship, and it would make sense that eventually someone would get a feeling like this. We're only human." I approached things with compassion and probably a chunk of naivety at this point. But I told her that it was dumb, but it's all okay because I trust her. I even joked and said that she should go get coffee with the guy. Maybe she'd see that her schoolgirl crush is silly and shake it off. Boy, was I wrong. Fast forward a month or so, and she's still going out to bars, and I'm stuck with dropping off and picking up the kids, cooking dinner, and getting them ready for bed. I soon got let go from my day job, and it was a unique job that allowed me the freedom I needed to take care of the kids, take time off, and it paid fairly well for my profession. I decided to put more effort into my business and went into it full time. I started making the same money in my side business as I was in my old day job. In some months, I'd make double. I was ecstatic, but working hard day and night to keep the bills paid. Everything had been split 60-40, with me paying a bit more for most of our relationship. We had kids in our 20s, so I wasn't in a position to pay for a family of 4. Jenny desperately wanted me to pay for everything so she could stay home, and it's something she still wants. It's just really hard to make enough for her to be a full-time stay-at-home mom. Anyway, one month she went to visit her friend on the West Coast for a week, and everything seemed fine. And when she got back from the trip, we went to a concert, which is when I felt that something was a little off. I saw her messaging one of her old exes again, a guy she hasn't spoken to in years, and it had become an ongoing thing. When I confronted her about it, she said that she met him during her recent trip at a concert, and after that, they stayed in touch. At this point, I was definitely concerned and was questioning what really happened on this short trip. Throughout our whole relationship, I'd never been through her phone, but I couldn't ignore the gut feeling that I had. I looked through her messages and found out that she hooked up with one of her girlfriend's friends, some dude that she just met for a day or two and slept with him. I see messages between them talking about what they did and how great it was without a care in the world, and she was loving the praise and attention from this guy. I also found a text thread with her planning a hotel night with Fred. Just in case you forgot, Fred is the co-worker she recently started to crush on. Their meet was planned for the same week she got back from her trip. I guess one hookup just wasn't enough for her. Her plan was to tell me that she'd be going to a female friend's house party and that she'd be too drunk to drive back, meaning that she'd have to stay the night. She also had messages with other guys about wanting to hang out or meet up for drinks. In these chats, she'd say things like, "I'll check to see if my babysitter is free," which is obviously me. I felt struck, like I got hit by a train, spikes thrown at my body, and then dragged through hot lava. I was absolutely enraged. I couldn't process it. I was in utter disbelief. If you're wondering what our sex life was like, it was damn amazing in the beginning. We were an amazing pair, sexually, but during the last 3 years of our relationship, it was fairly dead. I would have to beg for sex, and even then, I'd be lucky if I got it once or twice a month. I married a girl with a matching sex drive, which to me was fairly high, but hers went down like hell after our second kid. I was the only one initiating, trying to be sexy and showing her that I wanted her in that way. The next time I saw her, I confronted her, and she seemed shocked that I found out, but was also pissed that I went through her phone. She didn't cry right away or act how I would expect, and she didn't throw herself at me crying. She just looked sad and surprised. It took a few days for me to really see her break down, to finally realize that she fucked up our marriage forever. I tried to sort through all the pain, hurt, betrayal, confusion, point of origin, hatred, love, depth, you name it. At the end of the day, though, she's my wife, so I tried my absolute best to see the good in her, trying to make it work for the sake of our kids, the home, and our marriage. I tried to be the better man, telling her not to stay with her friends so we could try and work things out. I hated her because of the betrayal, but loved her because of everything else we'd been through. We even slept in the same bed that night, too. Is this trauma bonding? A few weeks later, all hell broke loose, but I'll take some of the blame here because my mental psyche was completely compromised. I wasn't operating like a functional human. I was much too broken. We decided to do an open relationship test run, which I know, stupid move, but it was a shiny new thing that sounded good on paper. We made rules, had an agreement, and she proceeded to go on a date with Fred. I tried to be supportive and open to the idea. I mean, who knows, it might work out for both of us. She got home and told me about the night. It was a simple date with him, her, and a group of friends, but I realized right then and there that I'm never going to have time to chase another girl, raise kids, and build my business. I was blinded by the idea, but it made no sense in hindsight. But for her, it was perfect. At this point, I was desperate for something to make sense, flopping around like a fish, trying to breathe and figure everything out. One night, I asked her to hang out with me, something to the effect of helping me do a menial task that would take an hour or so. But she wasn't into it and would rather watch TV. I snapped and said, "Sure, whatever." And in that moment, I felt the care and love I had for her instantly disappear. I felt the depression and numbness overcome me. I felt vengeful. I felt hatred. And I felt the poison of revenge just totally engulf me. I felt depressed. I felt like I wasted my life on her. I worked 2 jobs for 5 years and tried my best to provide as a young father of 2. I gave everything, my all. I bled for this family day in and day out and adopted her son, making me responsible for another man's child and to love him forever. Life didn't seem real anymore. I hopped on Tinder, found a girl, and planned a date or possible hookup if things went well. I skipped a chunk of the rules we had for our open relationship and wasn't honest about what I was doing or my intentions for the night. I met the Tinder girl at a bar and we hit it off a bit, and at this point I couldn't care less about her looks, the conversations, or anything else. I was just numb because of what my wife did to me. In the end, we went to a secluded place and hooked up, and little did I know that my wife had my location on and brought the kids out at 2 a.m. to catch me in the act, which was crazy. I mean, who brings their kids out at 2 a.m. to an unknown situation? Absolute insanity. She hit me multiple times, tried to beat me, and threw God knows what from her trunk at me, hitting me in the head. After which, she clocked me pretty good a few times. I didn't fight back or anything, as I was dazed and in shock. My wife made me drive the Tinder girl back to her car with my kids and wife in the back seat. Nice move. Let's traumatize the kids, right? She makes me sleep in a hotel for a few nights, throws all my shit all over the house, threatens to destroy all my business gear, screams, punches, and throws everything at me. When she cheated on me, I was pissed, calm and reasonable. We slept in the same bed on the night I confronted her, and even though I yelled a bit, I didn't make her leave the house. I didn't take all her shit and throw it around, but in this moment, she showed that she couldn't handle the same thing she had done to me. She was being so cruel and evil. I get back to the house, and it's days of violence, with me trying to keep the peace, explaining how I'm also feeling broken, depressed, and hurt. Apparently, though, what I did was worse. I should have been the better man and not cheated back, even though we were in an open marriage. Everything was my fault. I was the slime of the earth. That's what she kept saying to me over and over again. She made me seem like the scummy villain, a terrible excuse for a husband, an awful human for cheating back on her. The thing is, though, we're only in this place because she cheated on me, but she didn't want to see that she turned me into the shell of a man. If you think that this is where our drama ends, you'd be wrong, because a few days after all this went down, it turned out that my wife is pregnant. Everything started to spin. After a visit to the doctors, the dates seemed to line up perfectly with her trip out west. And if that's the case, I couldn't be the father because we didn't sleep together the week before or after that trip. While I'm not making excuses for her behavior, the pregnancy hormones could have been why she was so intense when she caught me. She bounced the idea of keeping this guy's baby, and I specifically said to her, "It's your body. You need to make this decision. I don't want to sway you anyway. That's your body, not mine."
What would you do if I kept this man's baby?
I don't know if I can handle raising another man's baby that you cheated on me with. After a week, she decided to get an abortion, but she almost instantly regretted the decision a day or so later. She wanted to keep that man's baby, and she made me feel like I forced her to abort. August to December were the worst months of my life. Worse than watching my mother slowly die of stage 4 cancer. It was a terrible time. We were always fighting. She was throwing my stuff outside, and she was always begging me to leave. But afterwards, she would tell me to fight for her. She was constantly going back and forth on what she wanted and would get physical with me, punching me in the face on occasion. As a man, I felt like I couldn't go to the police because it'd show weakness. On top of all this, she'd take the kids away for weekends or weeks. She even tried to take them away from me on Christmas Eve. Eventually came the ultimatum as she regretted not keeping the baby. She said that she was unwilling to work on our relationship unless I got her pregnant, which is insane, right? We're not well off. We're lower middle class at best, and while we're able to pay our bills, we don't have any savings or anything stored for retirement. Having a baby would be a stupid financial decision, and on top of that, all the pain and betrayal we've recently gone through. How would it work? It seemed so selfish to me. The kids we have now, deserve as much care and attention we can give them with the little resources we have. I can't work 90 hours a week and be okay. It's just not going to happen. I know that she wants another baby to fill the void she has due to the abortion, but I feel like that's not my fault, nor my obligation to give her another kid just because she cheated and got pregnant for another guy. It's been 6 months since this happened, and we're more amicable and somewhat peaceful when conversing now. I want to be there for my kids every day. That's my number one aim now. It used to be my wife, the kids, and then myself last, but now it's the kids, myself, and my wife last. I want to be there for them every day, just like I have been the past 10 years. I adopted her son as my own, and she wants to take them away for, at best, what would be a 50-50 thing. I love these kids so much, and I know they will be broken without me being there as they're growing up. Sure, 50% is better than nothing, but it's tough. Am I crazy for still tossing the idea of just giving in to what my wife wants? Am I insane for wanting this marriage to work? I think about it sometimes, and I feel like a weak man who just wants his kids. I want peace, not more headaches, but another baby would be so intense right now. We're definitely at the defining fork in the road. There are no more straight paths. A decision has to be made. Should I give her a child and save the marriage for my children, working even more hours to stay afloat, knowing that I'm doing it all for my kids and a wife who cheated on me? Or should I walk away with my peace, knowing that I tried my best to make it work, but knowing that my life will be 10,000% harder, raising 2 kids in separate households? For the life of me, I don't know why OP didn't leave this toxic and abusive marriage when his wife's cheating first came to light. I had to laugh when he said he couldn't go to the police about the abuse because it would make him look weak. But how does he think this whole story makes him come across? While cheating is always bad, cheating and having a baby with someone outside of your relationship makes things a million times messier. OP's already raising a child that isn't his, and I would wager that if he doesn't get his wife pregnant soon, some other guy will. This relationship is an absolute dumpster fire, and honestly, I don't think it can be saved or is even worth saving. I always say that divorce is tough, but living a life like this sounds like an absolute nightmare. In any case, just as I was about to hit render on this video, there was an update from OP regarding this situation, so let's have a listen. With all of the courage you guys gave me, and the realization that I've been a damn doormat and blinded by my own idea of a man never giving up, I told her flat out that I want a divorce. I took my ring off and told her that she fucked all this up and can't treat me or anyone else like this. If she thinks using and abusing a human like this after they adopted her son is okay, then she's insane. The baby extortion, making me feel worthless, going on about how my cheating was worse and unforgivable. Yet, she can cheat and get pregnant while I bust my ass for the kids. It was too much. I told her, fuck this, I'm done. I used the gray rock and 180 method like some of you suggested, which was awesome, by the way. She perked up like a confused chipmunk. I could even see the wheels turning in her brain. She knew I was serious and broke down. I mean, she was on the floor crying uncontrollably. It took her all of this BS and time to realize my worth. But to be fair, it took me a while too. Except this time, I'm viewing her actions from an outsider's perspective, since I'm so removed from the situation and accepting of the decision I need to make. No more distractions. She's been saying that she'll do anything I want, and is even trying to do sexual favors for me, all of which I turned down, by the way. She tried to give me my favorite candies and plan date nights, saying that she wants everything to work out now and she wasn't ready for those 6 months. The 6 months in which she was fucking me up emotionally, mentally, and physically. In any case, now she's ready to put in the work. I looked at her in disgust, and it was quite eye-opening. I felt a flame in my chest and stuck to my guns. And now, she's scrambling for my attention, and trying to love bomb me into the old fucking moron who let her step all over me over and over again. But not this time. It's weird seeing her go from cruel and abusive to trying so hard to fix our relationship. Well, OP finally showed some backbone, and it seems to be working out for him. We can only hope that he keeps the same energy and finishes what he started. Sometimes being indifferent to someone is what will get them to change their ways. But if you are truly over someone, it will be much too late for them to make amends. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video on coffee and popcorn, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.